have anybody on. Are you doing the sound check?
Lights, camera, and action. Slow dialing in.
You don't know? Yep.
Check, check.
Hello, hello, hello.
Good.
No.
All right, thank you for the test. With that, it is 5:30 and it is Tuesday, June 11th. We're calling to order the June regular commissioner meeting for Thurston County Fire Protection District 8. And we will start with public comments. But I don't see anyone other than a few of our employees. You're welcome to make comment. No comments. All right, thank you. We will move directly to the chief's report then.
I'd like to start off with Chief McBride, who is here, to give kind of an F&E report. We had a request to have a short report on the status of our new brush truck. And I think he may have some other information, so floor is yours, sir.
We had a commissioner ask about the new brush truck. It's in the process of getting placed into service.
Yeah, can you come up here and just make sure you get on the recording that way? We might want to go back to these comments again. Didn't you say?
So our brush truck, if you haven't seen it, it's out in the bay. It's beautiful. If you want to go look at it. We are hoping to have it placed into service soon. We've waited, seems like half a decade for this, literally. So there's some things that we're still waiting on, waiting for the radios to be installed, primarily. And Lieutenant Gagne has been collecting everything, the departments are getting filled up and whatnot. But the vast majority of it is stuff that has to be done at the shop. Once it's there, we think it'll probably take at least a week. The radios stuff we can't install. That's the, it's just the radio and then the MCTs, which is the computers to get mounted in the cab.
Lights are already on it.
Yeah, it's on it. Ready to go. In fact, the door shield showed up today, so.
Did they say something?
It's like- So, yeah. Awesome, it's come together. He said hopefully within the next month. He was hoping to have it sooner, but part of the issue is we're waiting for shop to have space to get one of our rigs in, and unfortunately, Engine 83 is currently taking that role. Since it had a flywheel, which is part of the starter, go down. So that takes a lot more work. That's kind of bigger priorities to get that back into service.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. The other thing that came up in our F&E meeting was, I don't know how familiar board is with purchasing requirements, but me and my team probably do the vast majority of purchasing within the agency. So I know in the past, whenever we bring projects up for approval from the CR&R, we typically get asked, what our process is and have we gotten 3 quotes? Some of the challenging things and for facilities versus equipment, it's 2 different tracks. And Chiato can comment on it, but one of the issues that we've had, and it's an industry-wide thing for any public works, is getting people to come and bid on the smaller projects. Ideally, we always try to get 3. Sometimes that will put the ask out there, but we don't get any. Legally, we're not necessarily required. So the things that are highlighted though are the requirements that will be taking changes in July. So all these prices will be increasing for what the requirements are, partly because everything in the world has increased. So that's where we're at. So in theory, if we have a project that's less than 75 or between 75 and 350,000, we could pull from what's called the small works roster. That's maintained by, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not a state.
It is Department of Enterprise Services has this works.
Oh, they run that? Okay,
Yeah.
so it's.
We also subscribe to MRSC.
Yeah, so what that is a list of contractors, vendors, whatnot, that have been vetted in a sense, and we can just pull one name off of there that meets our requirements. So we're still meeting the legal requirements. And what we do periodically is we will try to get quotes from multiple if possible, especially if it's a bigger project. And then if we like the company, then we'll more than likely to use them in the future. Just be that, not necessarily skip, but we feel more comfortable that we don't need to do 3 quotes if it's a company that we're familiar with and their quality of work and their price point. So if you want, you can take a look at it, depending on whatever the project is and the costs. I know Doug's very fluent in this, but this shows what we have to do in our decision-making process.
Just to comment on the use of common contractor that you've used before. I mean, obviously, if you've got a good relationship with them, they've done really good work, you've paid them and that kind of thing. It's great to use them over again. And we don't do that many projects, but you know, if you were to only use one contractor for the next decade, it could become a problem.
Correct.
You know, so, but I absolutely agree that once you find somebody that you can work with, that has a fair price, that does quality work, using them again is the right thing to do. Just at some point, you want to reach out a little bit and see if there is some other competition out there.
So typically what we've done, if we've used a contractor of any sorts for like 3 to 5 years, then like every 3-ish years, we'll go out to bid for something. So like for the lawn service, for instance, we're very happy with our maintenance company, but I think this is the 3rd year, so we'll probably go out to bid just to see what's out there and make sure that we're still in the same market.
Right.
The other thing is like the other vendors, like electrician, or general contractor or whatnot, or plumber, we have them under contract to just do miscellaneous work as needed. Part of that process is because we have to go through so much stuff for our contracts because we have to do prevailing wage and whatnot. It's a real pain in the butt. They don't like it, and it's just it's a lot of headaches, which is also why we get a lot of these smaller jobs where people don't want to bid on it because they know all the headaches they have to go through. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But
Yeah, regardless of what bidding thresholds are, we're required for Public Works to pay prevailing wage. We have to have certifications with Department of Labor and Industries and all of that, regardless of the size of the contract. So what these really govern is threshold for bidding and all that, but engaging labor for Public Works or anything like that, we have to follow the same rule from $1 to $1 million. So, and that scares a lot of contractors off too.
it does.
I mean, they don't, smaller ones just can't do the paperwork. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Right. There actually is a threshold that I think it was $1 million, or maybe it's a little more than that, about it has to be union shop. Or somebody, they have to have an apprentice program.
Apprenticeship program.
Apprenticeship program and that kind of stuff. So, but that is at a higher level ones. But you're right, the small contractors, there is a lot of paperwork they have to go through with L&I. Makes it more difficult for them if they're not used to it.
And the other part too is the smaller jobs, because they have to go through so much paperwork, and also we have to jump through, and they as well, a lot of hoops before they can get paid. So if they don't have the cash flow to do payroll for 3 months while we're holding 70 grand, like the septic system, that makes it a little less likely that they're going to bid on something. So,
Right.
So.
One other thing that we do is like another way of kind of alternate way of purchasing, especially large items like apparatus, is through cooperative. And we have like used Houston Galveston in the past. Did we use them again for this one? Or?
We've used Sourcewell is the one we've used.
Sourcewell, yeah. There are others. Sourcewell's associated with Western Fire Chiefs. HGAC is a cooperative of those municipalities in the Texas area, and there are others too. But here, just within the last 3 or 4 years, rules that the state have changed that make it easier to use those cooperatives, as long as they can prove that the process to get that vendor on board met the rules that are in Washington as well. So,
Yeah, those are nice for streamlining things.
Oh, yeah.
On the equipment side, I should like that on the equipment side. Right,
That's cool.
Thank you.
Helpful.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. The monthly report was sent out last week, and I would be glad to answer any questions you might have.
I didn't have any.
yeah, that was the only question I had was, just a little bit more on the brush truck and I appreciate that.
Right. And then, Chief Lemay has an update on the staffing.
So not a lot of change from last month. One volunteer did drop out. He had to move on, have something else and moved away. We did have graduation last night, so the medic one graduated 5 EMTs. See Commissioner Billings said. And so we had the 5 graduate from EMT. They still have to pass their tests, get their license piece. Then they'll be working EMTs for us. We've already got them on their shifts. That puts us at 31 volunteers as of now, 10, 10, and 11 for the 3 different platoons. It's cool.
Okay, right on track.
And that's all for the chief.
We have a request for approval on policy 306.
Yes, as promised, probably a decade ago, is that we would review our current, alcohol and drug policy and so forth. And after considerable good work, we did come up with a, agreed upon policy. The policy, is very, very short. Procedure is very, very long. So, which probably will be subject to changes from time to time as legislation changes, science changes, and that. So, the ask tonight is approval by the board for the policy. And subsequently, then I will approve procedure, have it updated on this.
Okay.
I did send a copy of both. The policy, the procedural piece was, just really FYI. Glad to answer any questions on either of them.
Okay. For a
I
motion.
will we approve procedure number 3-06 TR-01, but I have a question. When I looked up the policy and it said PO, it says PR, did I miss something?
PO, yeah, policy and PR is procedure. So
Okay, got it. Okay, when I was reading, I'm like.
in our antiquated codified terminology.
Got it.
I'll second the motion.
So, all right, so just question clarification, are we moving to approve the policy?
Oh, I was doing the procedure, so. Could it be doable? Are you just-
No, all you need to do is approve the policy.
Okay,
Oh,
um,
yes. I would approve the policy.
okay. Yeah, second, thank you. And I will just say that, in terms of what we have decided as a board is that the board is involved in policy. And we approve policies, and especially in something like this where there is a lengthy procedure that could change as state law or science changes or whatever. We don't want to have to come back to the board necessarily to approve changes to procedure when that could be taken care of by the fire chief. So we've given him authority on that. So what,
Yeah.
in this case, what we're looking for is approval of the policy itself that mentions there will be a procedure that's developed and approved by the fire chief.
Got it. I would hope to work on this. Labor management council starting. That's what I thought. We were approving this.
Oh,
Okay.
right, right. Any other comments or questions? No? All right, so it's been moved and approved, or moved and seconded. All in favor of approval? Aye. Right, passed.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're to the secretary's report.
Yes, I'm reporting also for the COT, the Community Outreach Team. However, I didn't get any notes from our coordinator, so I'll go on what I know.
Okay.
Which is, in the month of June, we're super busy with school, end of the year school events. I believe we're attending the Strawberry Festival, which is this weekend. We have a few tours scheduled, and I think well, he's finding it a little challenging to find folks to participate in these events. We're even putting it out there for overtime, but folks aren't taking it.
Oh.
So I know that Drew is trying to take as many of the events as he can. But yeah, we're looking for help with that. So
Summertime and people are busy with their families.
yeah.
How could that be?
So moving on, I have 3 sets of minutes, including the one from our special meeting, and they were all reviewed. I did get a little bit of input from you on one of them. However, I left it the way it was because I went back to when we're audited, how they want it. And it's the way that the auditor wants it. So
Okay.
I had to keep it that way.
But my comment was that the special meeting we held on yesterday, the way the finish of it, the way it was described was we concluded the executive session and went back to the regular meeting and then closed the regular meeting. And I said, well, we didn't have a regular meeting, it was only a special session or executive session.
But that, yeah, that is.
That's
how
the way the
that
auditor wants
the
it to
auditor
be
wants it.
described, so then, fair enough.
Interesting.
So you begin and end in an open public meeting with executive content then?
Right, yeah, I guess so, yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
And I only know that
Yeah.
because I was called out on it. with
Well,
all our audits.
Right, and.
So
you know,
once you're called out on it. you don't never
You don't
forget it.
forget it, yeah. Okay, well, thank you for that feedback. So looking for a motion to approve minutes.
Almost approved minutes.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Then I sent out the warrants. Were there any questions on that?
You know, it's me again, asking questions about this TV, phone and internet thing. It confuses me every time, and I know you clarified, but it seems like we're paying Comcast and CenturyLink.
Well,
And-
that's a good catch because we are, and we need to cancel that. And it did, Janet brought that to my attention that, I don't think they've been closed, the Comcast TV.
No, yeah, I spoke with Janet today, and she said she's. Oh, sorry.
The TV we're keeping, no, the phones, because we have the new phones, so,
Yeah, so she's gonna work with Comcast, that's canceled.
okay.
Yeah,
So we'll continue to have Comcast for internet and for one phone line.
Okay, so there's, I mean, if you're doing different vendors and you can't bundle and get a better price.
No.
I was just thinking, it seems like, and some of the bills, it's like digital TV for station 8.3, and then you go down further and it says internet and phone for 8.3, and then it says resident house internet and digital TV, then phone network for 8.1 and 8.3 something. It's like 8.3 is getting a lot of internet and a lot of phone in just a couple weeks time. It just makes it harder to review what we're paying for. It makes it look like we're paying a lot for 8.3 to have phone and internet, the TV. It's like and it's easy for bills to just get sent to a business and just be written. So I just want to make sure we're looking at all of those.
Well,
Not overpaying.
our friends at Comcast are not user-friendly with their
No, they're
billing
not.
process. We attempted to consolidate those accounts for Janet's lost a whole head full of hair trying to deal with it. Before that, I was trying to do it, and I know
Yeah.
Kyle's tried, so it doesn't get any better than that for Comcast. For Verizon, we basically have one bill now for our what we call landline phones. They're not actually landline, but office phones. And we do have 3 good old Ma Bell telephone lines to each of our 3 fire stations that we've chosen to retain in case you know what those.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's important for emergency.
So we're pretty well stuck with 3 different vendors,
Okay,
one of which is terrible to deal with. So,
Yeah. Okay.
sorry.
that helps. It just seemed, it's just as I'm looking at them going, "Well, we paid that, oh, we paid that, no, we paid them for that, so when are we paying for that? That's all. I'll try to not get too excited on.
Yeah. And I want to make a comment about it's transaction 523, the fees that we paid for the legal ads for the ballot measures.
Yes.
Participation.
Yeah.
For a pro or con statement. We did make announcements.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
We were
And we paid
challenged
for it.
on
I
that
got
once
above it
before.
for
I
what
want to
I
make
did.
sure that that's part of the record of this meeting.
Yes.
I had some more. It was about the water quality testing.
So it's funny you bring that up because Janet actually ran a report and I should have given it to you before the company meeting. I apologize, but she noted that it's exorbitant what we're paying.
It
And
is.
did a comparison on last year and we're only 6 months into it or 5 months for bills. And I know that when I've asked about it, I can say that we have to have that testing done. Now, whether or not there's another vendor out there,
So I reached out to one more vendor, just to see if they would quote, and it was about $100 per station to do it.
yeah.
But I can definitely go out, it's, what's the difference?
And if they find something in the water, which I think they do frequently, then they keep retesting it.
Yeah,
And of
they
course they
still-
charge. That's why.
Okay, so that's why it's so
more.
much.
Yeah, the only time you'll ever see a price increase is if they find something, and then they'll shop the treatment, they'll do the treatment. For sure. So that's the price increase. And if there is any issue, they inspect the well, and make sure it's good.
Yeah.
So they do a good job.
The problem is that the water quality is held to higher standard because it's a public water supply,
Yes.
not like your home tap.
Well, the hospital, we had to do the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, we took it to the State Department, we took it to the courthouse. But and then it's $25. You know,
We used to do that
Years
and then weren't we audited or somebody told us we couldn't do it. We weren't allowed to do it ourselves.
It's
But for
probably not.
years, we did it ourselves.
Yeah.
And then when we were told we couldn't, and it could have been the law change. Do you remember? I just know that was back.
Yeah, it's been a while ago. since I
Cecil
did it.
days, but yeah.
The water
Now we
testing
have to
lobby
do
at the
that.
state,
Yeah, okay, I think that was the only ones I had highlighted, which was just that. Yeah. Happy now.
I was looking for a motion to approve then.
Move to approve the check register and the charges here.
Okay,
I'll second.
moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Okay,
And then a reminder that the association is hosting its annual picnic on Sunday, June 23rd. And I believe you all received an email with that information. Keep that
and that is Odd Fellows.
Odd Fellows.
Okay.
And they're doing hot dogs and everything. Chief Lemay's in charge of.
And the sunshine, make sure you were.
I'll make sure it's on.
Yes.
Exit rain
No
last year.
Was he in charge of weather? too?
Yeah, he
Okay.
let us down.
Yeah, drop the ball.
Okay, commissioner comments, if there are any. Okay. Great, we're all good. Any review and follow-up? I don't think there was a particular, I don't think there was any follow-up. It was done so well.
oh, almost breaking record.
All right. So with that, I think we will recess for our executive session. This is a employee performance review issue. And do we have a estimated time?
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay, estimate for 10 minutes, and then